Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this very, very special edition. Ladies and gentlemen, real money online gaming. Now, everybody has different perceptions about it. Is one the same as the other? Is something like an online betting or not, nefarious activities like the Mahadev betting app? Is it the same as something like fantasy sports where you choose your own team? The argument between game of skill versus game of chance, and the more important aspect of how can this be regulated? Can there be a separation and an identification, and can there be certain level of regulation? So between the policymakers and the entrepreneurs who have been bunched up with some nefarious elements, there is a huge argument that is building. Now, the attempt in this very special broadcast is to get erudite minds who have not only pitched for a certain level of code of ethics or gaming regulations or self-regulation, but also perhaps how there can be a proper policy framework that allows those who are contributing to Bharat, those who are enabling a sporting culture and a sporting lifestyle in Bharat, and getting more and more youngsters engaged in sport. How can there be a proper operating space for them? So how do we create the divide? So let's go straight across to our guest, Dr. Gulshan Rai, former National Cybersecurity Coordinator, Prime Minister's Office, Government of Bharat. With us, Rameesh Kailasam, founder IndiaTech, is joining us. And we also have Hitesh Jain, Parinam Associates, joining us. Namaste and Jai Hind to all of you. Thank you very, very much. If I may ask you, Rameshji, to first elaborate and to also explain to our viewers, when we say gaming, there is a certain perception. Now, what is perception and what is reality? If you can address that.
Well, Anand, I think you started off on the right note. This is a fundamental thing that I've been trying to educate people on ground. When I meet mental health activists, when I meet NGOs, when I meet parents, when I meet gamers, the fundamental question that comes in is they see what they see on TV, and the presumption is that is what it is. For example, I came across somebody in Chennai where they said, this kid has been playing this shooting game for hours together, and a particular fantasy gaming platform is to blame, which had no connection to it, just because you are known to hear some brands on television and so on. So the perception is always been that real money gaming is the culprit. The perception is that it's all gambling and betting. The perception is that your kid, which plays a shooting game, killing people online, is the game that is being peddled across as real money gaming, when fundamentally all of these are different. And when there was a discussion in Parliament, we had shot as IndiaTech a letter to the IT minister then, actually elaborating on the different genres of games that exist, what is allowed where. I mean, for a simple example being that you had esports, you had fantasy, then you had casual gaming. In casual gaming, you had casual games which were replicating real world games. For example, you could play Carom online, but Carom also has a federation. You have chess online, and you also have the chess federation. So therefore, you had real world games which were replicating in the virtual world. You had real world games not recognized by federations being replicated in the virtual world. You had virtual world games like Candy Crush and Fruit Ninja and so on, which only exists in the virtual world. So there was this distinction. And then, of course, you had also the likes of rummy, poker, gambling, betting, and so on. Many of which in the first few categories have been cleared as games of skill by various court orders, including the Supreme Court. And therefore, the question that came in that time was that how would in this country, a sector which is growing so big, live through so many misconceptions? I have in the past had worked with various other sectors which suffered with similar misconceptions like direct selling and so on, which have traveled some distance now. But gaming also was going through the same churn. And the interesting part, which founders whom we work with very closely and investors as such, as IndiaTech, one of the questions that was often asked was that how many more churns do we get there and still will we be tarnished? Will we get a regulation for ourselves and still be beaten up by the other ministry? And that's an often trend that we get to see. Will the center clear it, but will we still be whacked by the states and so on? Because they have their own interpretation of different kind of games of skill, games of chance, and what they perceive as gambling and betting. So the question, therefore, that came in is, can we come with a national level framework for this? And this was pushed by further the fact that investors asked one interesting question. Does it mean that every gaming company we invest in will have to go through the churn of somebody questioning it and the court clearing it? Which means that today we have 20,000 plus games going on. Does it mean 20,000 cases in court to prove yourself that, look, I'm clean and I'm a game of skill, and still you can be charged by the states? So that is what led us to work closely with the center and various ministries to see if we can come with a national level framework which defines all of this, or at least creates a rules based approach. Now, we may not necessarily have, and you may have seen this in the case of OTTs, which went through the similar churn of questioning legitimacy and the content and so on, and now have a self-regulatory model which is coming. So I would stop at that, but that's a very valid question. That misconceptions will continue on, and it is for the government and the industry jointly to come with a framework that helps people also distinguish.
Hmm. Gulshan Raiji, how is it that a base of nearly 500 million viewers and there aren't checks and balances to sift those which are purely largely banking on skill versus those who are fly-by-night operators or those who are perhaps running these scams or these operations which are purely on chance and then creating the kind of problems in society on startup. कहीं तो feedback from ground up is coming into the policymakers saying ये betting में परिवार बर्बाद कर दिए हैं. This is where it comes from. That all of this then get butched into that which breaks up society or breaks up families or bankrupts families. Your thoughts, sir?
So one aspect, Ramesh has said it. He dealt purely with the domain aspects there, the aspect which you wanted him to dwell on that. Let me argue that concept purely from technology point of view. Okay. Now the technology is innovations are taking at very high speed there. Today you have, tomorrow you have, after something you have, and we are all shifting toward the platform economy. Every sector of economy, education, defense, everything is moving on a platform-based kind of things there. And we are now dealing with convergence of technologies. We are not dealing with one technology. You talk about the IT or we are dealing with the convergence of technology. You have encryption, you have IT, you have a communication, and then you have emerging technologies built in over there. Now, this technology platform world over, because of the infusion of the AI and this kind of a technology, everybody says you regulate AI. And you cannot build a platform today without AI. You look at the financial sector, I mean, you know it better than me, that robotic process automation is the day. Every transactions in a capital market or a banking, they do the robotic process automation kind of a thing. So anyway, without getting into the betting or without into the game, there is a view worldwide, and worldwide governments are trying to do that they must regulate platform-based economy in a loose manner, which should benefit the public social development. At the same time, it should help the government to increase its market kind of a value or GDP. That's one aspect there. But if you look at there, now the games, we have been playing those games in a gully, mohalla, in community there, 4 or 5 people coming, physically trying to do that. That is still going on in spite of the ban and all kind of things there. But if you put that on the platform, see, in an online, ultimately, whether the government does or doesn't give, everything will shift to the platform there. It will shift there. And this is a much more different and requires a regulation in the sense that the viewers or the players can play from different parts of the location of the country, can play from different parts of the world there. Innovative new games can come up there. People don't know each other here and there. So there are chances of money laundering more. There are chances of other issues with the platform economy are more. It does require, it should be appropriately regulated there. If you regulate properly, the regulating model could be different, could be discussed there. But first, the need of regulation because of the emerging technologies, the devastating effect if we don't do that. I mean, you look at it there, the founder of the AI or founder of the windsurf is very aggressively saying you should regulate the internet there. I have gone through this. Ramesh is witness to that kind of issues I have gone through. I wrote the IT Act and I've gone through those kind of a thing. But today, it is everybody accept that there has to be a regulation. But the kind of a regulation need to be seen there. See, if you regulate, you can control. There are all gali mohallas, people are playing 4 or 5 people there. Okay. People know each other physically. Here, people don't know each other. Who's doing what, who's doing not there. Not only the issues are there, that the platform fellow can play mischief. The client on side also can play their own kind of things there. This will go on. It ultimately will go on.